Welcome to Nepal, the rooftop of the world, a land of 80 ethnic groups, 124 languages, and one extraordinary superpower, blasting open your heart to free your love. Come with us into the jungle mountains with an orchid expert and a Buddhist monk to collect the orchids that humanity most needs today.
Wishes come true.
We came here for flower essences and to deepen our spiritual practice, and found something we didn't expect. A place where strangers feel like family, where love arrives as butter tea and biscuits, where our hearts crack open before we even reach the jungle. We arrived first to Kathmandu, just weeks after a political revolution, and it became clear that before we'd reach the mountains to collect flowers, Nepal would have its way with our hearts. We'd need to open a door to another world while doing prayers in caves, sitting in meditation with monks and nuns, and receiving treasure empowerments. We learn to surrender and relax into the busy chaos of street life, get comfortable with monkeys everywhere, and open to profound connections with people we'd just met. Come with us and dive into the cultural and spiritual aspirations of Nepal. Love finds a way through every wall you've ever built around your heart. I'm Katie Hess with my sidekick Taylor Rico, and this is our docuseries, Flower Hunters.
I came to Kathmandu, Nepal for the first time 3 years ago. There was a group of us that was traveling doing pilgrimage. We started in India. We stayed in India for several weeks, and then we drove overland through the mountains to get to Kathmandu. The time that I had here was so, it just like shook me to my core. It was so profound, and the relationships that we made were so heartfelt. It was a different kind of trip 3 years ago. It was more like a pilgrimage. From that moment, I completely let go of social media. It's funny, I stopped doing social media for 2 years, I think. I didn't go on Instagram, and it was sort of like a silly marker for having an experience that had just rearranged things so much on the inside. So I couldn't be more happy to be back in Kathmandu and share more of what the experience is like with you.
Good. Nepali dance.
Someone's not dancing. So the first thing that we did when we got to Kathmandu was come to the monastery. We stay at the monastery guest house, the Sangye Children Monastery. The abbot of the monastery is Lama Kalsang, who is our really dear friend. Lisa can tell you all kinds of stories about how she first met Lama Kalsang, and we have the good fortune of meeting him because of her relationship with him.
Now you don't worry, okay? Take it home, yeah?
So we went first thing to go and see Lama Kalsang, who is our anchor. Essentially, he's like an anchor in Kathmandu. He's not only a dear friend, but he's one of our teachers. He's very soft and very firm. He's incredibly worldly. He's traveled all over the world. It is fascinating to sit and listen to him share how he perceives the world and current events and things that are happening. He also gives us instructions on what to do on a daily basis, where to go, what to see, what to explore. He is an incredibly profound teacher.
Lisa met Lama Kalsang in 1989. She worked as his secretary while he was the abbot of the monastery. She spent years assisting Lama Kalsang and developed an unbreakable bond. It's customary when meeting a Lama to bow your head and offer a kata, a silk cloth, as a symbol of offering the purity of your mind. The Lama then returns your pure mind back to you.
Now you go in dinner, okay? Slowly, then flip, lay down. Rest.
There is usually a variety of people around him supporting him. There's Ani Tubten, who's a nun who takes very good care of him. And every couple of years, the monks rotate. So last time we were here, it was a different set of monks taking care of him. And now Rinchen is the new monk who's looking after him. And we've had a glorious time getting to know him and laughing. And he's super, super sweet and dear.
Boop. That's too good. Chulemento? Ah, it's a flower. Ah, okay. Chu means water. Means from. It's a chulemento. From water flower. Yeah, from water flower. Oh, yeah. Now I got it.
So after we sort of checked in the monastery, then we went to do Kora, which is when you circumambulate and walk around the stupa. There are so many different stupas in Nepal, the two main ones being Swayambhu and Bodha. Swayambhu is just a short walk away from this monastery. People will do prayers, they'll do mantra, they'll spin the prayer wheels. There's beautiful statues. There's so many places along the way that you can sit and make prayers, and the power of that kind of place is deeply touching when you see that many people in one place who are getting in touch with their sense of spiritual path and putting it to good use and making wishes for all sentient beings. Along the Kora path, there are a lot of interesting things to see. One of them being like herds of monkeys. Monkeys are naughty and crazy and wild, and there's a whole variety of experiences that you see when you do Kora. After we did Kora, we started this like 3-day process of going to visit all of our old friends in this really synchronistic way. You know, we'd be with somebody and we'd kind of tumble out of that meeting and then we'd run right into someone else. So we went to visit the monks who were previously taking care of Lama Kalsang. One of them was Samdup. He was previously focused on doing all the cooking for Lama Kalsang. And also Pasang Lama, who was taking care of Lama Kalsang and giving him massages and being his attendant. Pasang has since, in the last few years, left the monastery and has become a layperson. So we went to a coffee shop to see him. And he's been studying all about rare kinds of coffees around the world and Nepali coffees. And so we sat with him and had a coffee. And then we had a beautiful coffee ceremony with Lama Samdup, who invited us into his room, and we looked at his beautiful room. And the way he does a simple coffee is like incredibly meditative. You know, you don't want to talk, you just sit and you watch, and the way he pours the coffee is like a tea ceremony. You see like 15, 20 plus years, however many years he's been a monk, and his meditation instruction and practice going into that ceremony. So he served us coffee and cookies. He talked a little bit about politics because recently there's been an upheaval in the political situation and scene in Nepal, and that was a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we can go enjoy.
What do you think of the government, like the burning the parliament and the kids taking the ministers out? Is that a good thing?
Our government everywhere, corruption. That's why last time 2 days we had very big protest with the small kids. We call Gen Z. Gen Z means the age of 18 to 28. They protest and they all the fire on the government property, police station everywhere. Nepal, you see, not developing, going down and down. Even you see when the Lord Buddha was born in Nepal, there is the very big tree with the Lord Buddha who meditated in Lumbini. The tree also, they also sell to the Japan. That's not good, yeah. It's very precious things in Nepal. You have to keep here. Everything is not money.
Right.
So you're hopeful.
Yeah, hopeful. We will pray for our country to good, have a peace. We have to pray for the peace and happiness in our country and everywhere. There are wars in the Ukraine and everywhere. Yeah, so we have to pray for them to make for world peace.
We saw our longtime friend Ani Pasang, who used to live with us in the United States, and she was doing a lot of green Tara pujas and raising money for the Sailung Gompa, which is outside of Kathmandu here. So we saw Ani Pasang, and then we went to see all the other Anis at the Marpa Gompa. Our last trip that we were here, every morning we would go to this Marpa Gompa and meet with 3 or 4 Anis in the morning and learn green Tara puja, and that was an instruction that we had from Lama Kalsang. It was so mind-blowing and memorable, and it was so hard to leave those Anis. I think the Anis and the monks were like the hardest to leave. When we left last time in Nepal, we were just, it was so hard to leave them. I was so shocked at how hard it was to leave, just crying, anytime I would think about leaving. I think the hardest part was with the Anis. So to have that feeling of, they might not be here when I come back, not knowing when that would be was so hard. For it to just be 3 years later that we come back, I'm sure it was even just as surprising for them to see us. And of course they just invite us back every morning for green Tara practice and serve us butter tea and cookies and let us into their world without skipping a beat. And you don't know how much time will pass until you see them again, or what will happen, or who will get sick, or who will still be there. And so it's so nice to go back to the Marpa Gompa, and going back into this 1,000-plus-year-old Gompa where many special people have come through and stayed to sit and do green Tara practice. In the meantime, it's been 3 years, right? So we've been practicing green Tara almost daily since we left, and it's given us a chance to catch up, because when we were here 3 years ago, it was I'll never be able to do this practice. They go so fast, I'll never be able to catch up. And so being back in the same place, sitting with the Anis and being able to actually do the practice with them, phenomenal. We learned that practice, and we've brought it back to the US and have employed it in times of great hardship for people, like when the floods hit Austin and North Carolina and devastated communities. We Zoomed our whole community in and gave them a space to make donations so that we can send it to people that needed it most. And we use that as the anchor to provide this net of protection around people and give them hope and courage in a time of pain and suffering. And also for the LA fires, we did it to raise money for them. I think it healed a lot of people's hearts. I feel so grateful knowing that they taught us this practice and that we've really been able to use it for not just our personal practice, but to really benefit lots of people on the other side of the world. Today we had 2 of the Anis that we knew from before, and then 3 more Anis showed up, and we all piled into this room, and to be doing the practice together was just amazing. In the same way that sitting with the monks, going into the monastery temple in the morning when they're all doing their green Tara practice and the instruments are going, it feels like a door to a whole other world opens up. It's ethereal and it's familiar and it's powerful and it's seen and unseen, and the instruments and the singing and the chanting and the space and the incense and the smells and everything opens up a door to a whole other world inside of you that is familiar and comforting and just also really wild and different than we're used to. We also saw our friend Dr. Dindup Tsering, who was a dear friend from the last time we were here. We needed his help. He was a Tibetan doctor. We leaned into his support when we were sick. All of us were sick last time with respiratory illnesses.
No, you have to show yourself too. Keeping my head warm. What Taylor has to deal with every night, blowing my nose, coughing, nose squeaking. Is your mouth like desert dry? Mm-hmm. God. Sore.
It's amazing to me to be in a place, I'm on the complete opposite side of where I usually live, to sit down with them and have a meeting and just feel like absolute kindred spirits. I say something and he completely gets where I'm coming from. And we completely get where he's coming from. We're just completely on the same page. Such an interesting feeling to have that contrast of such a deep connection with someone whose primary language isn't even the same as yours. So every day when you get up in the morning, do you do medicine Buddha practice?
Yes.
And you've been doing it for how many years?
After I could get connected to Tibetan medicine, so since 2011.
When you sit down with your patients, do you visualize yourself as medicine Buddha?
Yes, I have to. In Western medicine, they're only treating physically. In Tibetan medicine, we are treating physically, emotionally together, spiritually also. Sometimes when we touch the patient's pulse, sometimes they react in a different kind of ways. Some are emotionally, they cry out, they might laugh also. Sometimes they come out a lot of gas. When we just touch their pulse, we can feel the sadness of their inside what going on. Sadness can feel it in us, and then I also get sometimes emotionally, my eyes get wet. This kind of experience, Western doctor won't get this kind of experience because they don't see the way we see the patients. When we are ending up our one day session, then we do some kind of spiritual praying, delegate the prayers to the suffering peoples, and we don't see some kind of spirit around us for them also. Some people, some spirit, they want help from us, we don't see them, so we just give them away with the prayer.
He used to be a monk and he studied under His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then he attended one of the most famous Tibetan medical schools called Mensikang, and then he started his own practice here in Kindle, in Kathmandu. He does pulse reading, tongue reading, he does a variety of things like cupping and acupuncture. He prepares his own herbs. He buys herbs from local people who forage them. They put all of their Tibetan herbal remedies together. They're like these big round pills that you chew up and swallow with warm water. So he makes all of his remedies, and he's a phenomenal healer. At the time of this recording, we've only been here for 5 days, and I'm consistently blown away by not only how profound the connections are that we have with people, as well as the synchronistic meetings that we have. How is it possible to meet up with all the right people so quickly and have such a strong connection with them? It's just unbelievable. In the morning during practice, or when we're doing Kora, or in a quiet moment, I make wishes that all of these connections may come to some sort of fruition, that the reason why we're all running into each other and having these synchronistic, heartfelt, genuine connections is in order to benefit all sentient beings. And that is the reason why we've come here on a more spiritual, broad base, but also specifically to look for flowers in Nepal and be able to work with the essences of the flowers of Nepal and share them with the world at large. And we're just discovering now, we haven't even begun to go out into the jungle and look for special orchids. We are looking forward to that trip. But really, when you're looking at the place, how does the place feel? How do the people feel? It's kind of like a homeopathic proving. Everybody very closely observes the way that they feel in this container of time and space. So if I'm observing what is the special wa of Nepal, the most notable aspect would be that very deep, heartfelt connection. The fact that people are so wide open and so pure, so compassionate, and it isn't really said. People don't necessarily say I love you, or they're not using words to express the love. It might be physical affection, it might be laughter. There's this profound, unspoken, heart-to-heart transmission that happens between people. It's just so utterly sincere. It just strips away any sort of pretense. It strips away any embarrassment, any feeling small, it just allows us to be who we are here as humans and to rest in the peacefulness of the moment and be enveloped in this fierce compassion, gentleness, softness. There's absolute acceptance of how and who you are as a human being and acceptance of the human experience. And there's also intelligence, a clarity, a sharpness. People are really aware here.
Simply, they're just like really kind, super kind, friendly, like they're your friend. They're actually your friend. They're actually willing to help you out and say hello and joke around, or it's like, oh, I've been here for one day and I have friends.
I think the connections that we make with people here, one, because we don't speak the language, there has to be another form of communication. And whether that's just with like being present, whether that's looking into their eyes, or just like letting whatever this heart connection is just like be there. Because we can't communicate with words, that just becomes like so strong. And I think that's what really gets me is like, whoa, how can that be so strong yet we're not really able to communicate? But in the West, like that's our way of making a connection is with words and communication and language. But when that is removed and not possible, really, that feeling is so strong and I think just like pings you in the heart in a way that is so rare. There's like this filling up and nourishment from making these connections with people that are devoted to making an impact in the world.
There's like an eagerness to have a human connection here. There's a genuine eagerness to have a human connection. There's a genuine eagerness to like, for your hearts to like sync up and lock up together. People want to love you and they want to be loved by you and they want to find common ground, and it's really hard to articulate it in words. Maybe we'll get better at it along the way, and hopefully the flowers will be emblematic of all of these essences that we're feeling from people. But the human connection, the love, the compassion, and this eagerness to unite on a really profound internal level that crosses all time and space and is like brought together by this mutual alignment of wishing for the benefit for all of humanity. Based on my experiences in Nepal, if I were to guess what the botanicals would inspire in all of us, it would be at least two things. The first being to break us down and open up our hearts. Especially coming from the Western world, there's so much protection, there's pride, there's not wanting to feel like a fool, not wanting to feel stupid, not wanting to be embarrassed, not wanting to be rejected, not wanting to feel insecure. There's all of these layers of stuff that kind of bind up and lock us up. Coming here is different. They don't have those same bindings. Maybe they have something different, but the bindings around the heart are not there. Watching all of us come from the United States and shed whatever the bindings are, the hardness in the heart, and just melt, like constantly melt. Watching it break us down, and it's like breaking us down to the most essential part of who we are. The second aspect I would say is this kind of driving sense of like, how do I be more of service? How can I see like a bigger picture? How can I make a bigger impact? And constantly pulling yourself out of distraction or self-motivation into the broader motivation and like big picture. How can I really make the biggest impact? So if I were to guess, what do Nepali flowers do for us? I would say it's gonna break us down and crack us open and open our hearts to what's most essential. And it's gonna help us figure out how can we make the most profound impact while we're on this planet together. You wanna come check things out? So we arrived at Kathmandu yesterday evening. This is where we are staying. This is our neighborhood. This is our favorite monastery in Kathmandu, where our dear friend and teacher Lama Kalsang lives. And all of our monk friends live in this compound. And then if you walk this short few steps over here, this is the monastery guest house. And so we are staying in a room up here. And you can see all these electrical wires. The monkeys love them, so you can see the monkeys crawling all across the wires at different hours of the day. They're somewhere else right now. But for now, we were going to go do Kora, which is a word for when you circumambulate the stupa. The Swayambhu stupa is just a little ways over there. I can show you the route we take. Almost forgot the turn. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Oh, look at your beautiful eyes. Oh my goodness, look at those eyes. Oh. Wow, hi monkey do. Okay. Smiled at it. Oh right, we're not supposed to smile through the teeth, right? Should we get some incense? Could we buy one small bag of incense? Yeah. This one? When I first came to this place for the very first time, that really took me aback was just how profound the culture is of prayer. And how wide open people have their hearts to that. You see people of all cultures, of all religions making prayers. It doesn't matter if you're Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Muslim, what religion. You see people of all different faiths making prayers and wishes. You can visualize all your loved ones. You can visualize all beings everywhere. Everyone who's smelling the smoke or the smoke is touching across all space is benefiting them. But I love just hearing the hum of people doing practice and being around a bunch of people that are so devoted to their spiritual practice. It's like, oh gosh, I'm finally home. This is so wonderful. Breakdown.
You eating any momo?
Yeah.
Is it buff or chicken?
Chicken menu. Buff, okay.
Since we were here last, Lama Kalsang lost some of his ability to walk, so we're giving him a foot massage with essential oils and flower essences. Coincidentally, one of the rarest events of the century is being held about 100 meters down the hill from where we're staying, at the Benchen Monastery. Since Lama Kalsang is unable to walk long distances, he's piping in the empowerments on livestream because they're so special and rare. These empowerments are so powerful that just by listening alone, it activates something inside you.
How is it, Justin?
Good. Very good.
Buff mama.
Thank you, Buff Mama.
What are your first impressions?
It's like a peaceful hustle and bustle. Everybody trust everyone to do what they're just supposed to do when they're moving everywhere. It's like extreme chaos, ballet, dance, perfect. It's like some kind of crazy trust that the driving has. Trust and respect. You go from just like constantly honking, which is like not upset honking. It's just like, hey guys, over here, get out of my way. Okay, honk honk. Constantly.
You look happy, babe. Or not to be happy. Oh. Katie's sick and she's still happy.
Ani sonam nimengji ni nimda dinda dosha ta ida ani sonam sangi na yum.
Okay. Tomorrow next.
From the island.
Yeah. Dharamsala.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Every day come here, then we are weekend Terdzo. We have 6 dogs.
6?
Yeah. Sundari. Yeah, Nepali language Sundari is so beautiful. Sundari, Sheti. This name Sheti. Sheti Nepali language and white.
White.
Yeah. Sheti. This Kali. Kali is black.
Kali.
In Nepal, spiritual practice and the depth of the inner world is ever present. We fuel our motivation by doing prayers for all sentient beings And then it's time to go out into the world and make it happen. Right now, we're on our way to meet Mayendra Thapa, a local orchid expert, to see if we can get clarity on how we're going to locate orchids in Nepal.
Oh my god, did you see that? Did the monkey go after the dog? Yeah. Oh my god. Oh.
Yes.
Whoa, oh my god. Whoa. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you can find that in the wild?
Yeah.
In October?
In October.
Wow. And how do you find them? You walk and walk and walk and look and look in the trees and look and look and look. You have your like favorite places that you go, or you just go anywhere?
My favorite place for orchid is Panchasi.
Panchasi.
Too many orchid are there.
And in Panchasi, is there cobra snakes?
So, what?
Cobra snakes?
No snake.
No snakes.
No snake.
Any bears? Or big
Beer,
animals?
wild beer. Yeah.
But no problem.
No problem.
They go away.
Yeah. In a short area, we can explore many orchid.
What's your favorite orchid?
My favorite orchid, that peony precox, which I saw.
That one.
Yeah.
It's his favorite.
Almost looks like very super.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Peony precox is found mostly around 2000 meter, and the altitude of that Panchasi is 2500 meter.
We want to make one remedy with all of the Nepali orchids.
Nice. With one remedy is from Nepal orchid. Yeah. Okay. And it's best season, no rain and no cold. Yeah, it's the best for the expression. Yeah.
Right now.
Right now. And the blue sky, green, and the beautiful mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lucky.
It's a pleasure to us. Yeah.
I'm just so like blown away by people. First of all, it was only 2 mornings, 48 hours ago, that I was sitting here and just Googling and searching and trying to find botanists and orchid specialists, and very quickly located 2 really sincere orchid experts, let's say. One who's been doing it for many years and has written about 111 articles about orchids, and then one who is quite young and has only been studying and working with orchids for the last 5 years. But both of them are like insanely sincere people. Mahendra yesterday was telling us how he has been growing orchids from seed. So you like split open one of those pods and there's just thousands and thousands of like teeny little seeds in there. And then he babies them for 2 years to get them to sprout. It's a 50-50 chance. And then they go out and put it into the trees. They can't place them onto the tree until they've grown them up for 2 years. Crazy. All that to say, we have connected with the most sincere botanists who deeply love plants and their country and are willing to take us into the jungle and show us whatever we want to see. What on earth? What is going on here? It's just like amazing. And they're so soft and they're so beautiful and sweet, and it's just like blowing my mind right now. We showed all of the orchids yesterday to Mahendra. That Taylor had put together this presentation of about 20 orchids, and he said 5 are past their time, but there's 15 of them that he was like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, like we'll see them. Like, easy, we'll find them. So, I mean, it's just amazing to like plop down in a foreign country, not speak the language, and very quickly get connected with people who have sincere hearts and want to benefit the world, and they don't totally understand what our work is, but as long as we don't harm the orchids and it's in an effort to preserve their essence, then they're in.
We climbed to the top of the Swayambhu Stupa that night and reflected on all the people that would be introduced to the flowers of Nepal as a result of this trip. We made wishes to find the remedies that the people we can reach need, and to capture the heart of Nepal through the flowers. As we all circumambulate the stupa together right now, make a wish or say a prayer and dedicate it to the happiness and awakening of yourself and all sentient beings.
Good morning. It's about 5:30 in the morning, and we were given a specific instruction yesterday from Lama Kalsang that if you do 13 Koras, Kora is one long circumambulation around Swayambhu Stupa. Takes about anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. If you do 13 of those, it's like total purification of body and speech, mind. So we've taken the challenge, and I think we only have like a week or so here before we start having to go to the jungle, look for orchids. We're gonna start doing this every morning early and maybe in the afternoon. So double up, 2 per day, so that we can get those 13 times in. If we have any meetings here, we're gonna invite the meetings to do Kora so we can all get that benefit going. You can see there's people in front of us, behind us, everybody's going in the same place. Some of them have their malas and they're doing mantras, depending on what their practice is. So we can make offerings and make prayers and make wishes, and it's such an awesome practice to do in the morning. It's great exercise, it's good for the body, and it's purification. This woman in front of us has a flower in her hair. It's so pretty. She's Tibetan. Just got done with Kora, made some tea, and headed to the Gompa to do green Tara. And they just repaved these roads for these trails. And they were putting down slats. So hopefully we don't run into any wet cement. Wow, it looks beautiful. Oh, maybe this is their way to block. Namaste. Good morning.
After Kora, we went to the Marpa Gompa to do green Tara with the Anis. We saw Ani Sonam again for the first time. She just got back from Dharamsala for meeting with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. She's the eldest Ani at the Marpa Gompa and has been a nun for over 50 years. Every morning they serve us butter tea, but today we want to offer something back to them. We brought a giant carafe of rhodiola tea that we picked from our favorite Tibetan doctor's clinic to serve the Anis.
We just got invited to Ani Pasang's, they're doing a huge puja in the Gompa for her family. And Ani Pasang is a nun who stayed with us many years ago for several years at our house. And so she's invited us to come to this beautiful ceremony for her family in the Gompa. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I have a Tibetan medicine in my mouth, like these little dirt balls that you just gotta suck on, because if you chew the whole thing up. We're about to walk down the hill to Benchen Monastery. There's hundreds, thousands of monks and nuns there and lay people. And it's a really special time. It's a 4-month period where they're offering 900 empowerments and transmissions and teachings. Usually you get one empowerment. So like jamming 900 empowerments into this short period of time. And it's all from treasure finders. So it's super rare, super incredible opportunity. And today I think they're doing 10 empowerments. So we're going to go, it's morning time. We're going to go and attend for whatever the first half of the day's empowerments are as a blessing. You can go for empowerments either when you're wanting to learn a really specific practice. It's like the activation for that practice. It can also be just a blessing. So we're going for a blessing today. We're going to hop down the hill, get some omelets if they have, and sit with everybody for the empowerments. Maybe we should just get seats instead of omelets. So I think this is where we squeeze in. Not really sure where there's a spot to squeeze in. Maybe here? But these are people's seats. Like someone will eventually come and sit there. There really isn't anywhere to squeeze in other than just see somebody you know and squeeze in next to him. Or just wait to see who doesn't come. What about here? Also kind of a walkway.
It's a wild feeling to be among thousands of Himalayans. Thankfully, Anis we knew waved us down and let us squeeze in next to them, which felt surreal. We're doing this to gather spiritual momentum and energy to be the driving force of our flower hunting. We spent all day at Benchen, and as we walked home, we saw a bunch of mandalas on the ground. Every year during the Tihar celebration, Nepalis build colorful mandalas to invite Lakshmi into their homes and businesses. People offer fruits, flowers, colored powders, and candles to attract the Hindu goddess of wealth. During this time, dogs are also celebrated and given flower garlands and tikas.
How do you say beautiful? Beautiful? Ramri. Ramri. First you paint it? Yes. First we paint, after this we'll make the shape of our goddess Lakshmi. And if we do so, it is believed that she will enter into our shop and we'll have lots of income, such like tradition.
And that's why the footsteps.
Yeah.
That's Lakshmi.
Yeah.
Lakshmi seed. Yeah.
Tomorrow, 3 o'clock tomorrow, okay?
Maybe.
Today you come to here?
Tomorrow we might have to go to Pharping.
Pharping?
Yeah. But maybe we come back at night?
You have time now, okay? Same hotel, Kathmandu field. Why not? You have a happy time, you can come to today. You have no time tomorrow, day after tomorrow you can meet.
Okay, boss.
Okay. Okay, boss. Have a nice trip. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, you coming here today? That's it? You come? That's
It's a solid maybe. It's a solid maybe.
Yeah. Okay, Tara.
Bye.
Together, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Namaste, welcome to back.
Pharping is one of my favorite places in Nepal. Karma Lama showed us this place in 2022 when we meditated together in the cave. Now, 3 years later, we're making a delivery to him because he's in a 3-year sealed solitary retreat in Pharping, which means that he doesn't come out and no one can go in. So we're delivering flower essences, chocolate, and food for Karma Lama. This cave is a much-loved pilgrimage place because Guru Rinpoche and his disciples meditated here about 1,200 years ago and attained high states of realization. As a mark of this, Guru Rinpoche left his handprint in solid rock by the cave door. Since then, meditators have come here to pay their respects and gather inspiration from sitting in the same small place that once sheltered this great teacher.
I want to eat. I want to eat lambs. This is for Lama Kalsang. He is very sick now. Yeah? Not for only Lama Kalsang, for your parents, for all of the living beings. We are going to lighting the lamp. Now, start now. I'm going to pray. Then you all are going to lighten the lamp. Lenam Chedaway, Dinjabe, Jabara Girji, go, Lama, Gugan, Warzo, the Jedo, Gujan, Warzo, Lenda Shinga Barsha, Lama, Danda, Aberaging Gelo, Sangye, Donzagation, Janjo Bordo, Doni, Jabson, Jetagation, Jagibes, and Amgela.
Then we went to the lower cave where Guru Rinpoche had his second enlightenment. Although I don't totally understand what that means, I'm following my heart. There's something about sitting inside the earth that inspires the divine.
To Thamel? Yeah. So the past 2 weeks of us being in Kathmandu, we've been doing meditation with the Anis at the Marpa Gompa and sitting down at Benchen Monastery for Rinchen Terdzo, getting empowerments and blessings, visiting special places. I'm going to say that like part of what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, is to attune ourselves to the place. I mean, like if we're in Wyoming, it doesn't take very long, but being in another country with other people, this is also like a trip we would never take with ourselves. So we've had to find guides, we've had to make connections and develop a plan, which actually came together like remarkably fast. But if you think about it also in terms of like spiritually, energetically, metaphysically, like really attuning with the place,
and getting a sense for how the people are as embodiments of what the flowers will be for. It's like kind of a beautiful attunement process, purification, getting ourselves ready for making contact with the crazy jungle.
So today we spent the morning tying up all of our loose ends for back home, for LOTUSWEI, getting connected with our team back home, making sure that they're informed of what's going on here. And because for the next 5 days we'll be pretty much off grid and in the jungle looking for flowers. Thankfully with a really awesome guide and someone who loves and has devoted himself to becoming an expert at all things orchids in Nepal. So now we're headed to Thamel to get like a backpack and maybe some more light shirts. I need more SD cards because I thought I came prepared, but I'm not going to be able to bring my computer or anything that I thought I would have had with me to be able to transfer footage. So I just want to make sure that we're prepared for that. And our teacher also told us to get a bell and to find a walking stick when we get to where we're going so that we can walk and let the animals and the spirits and the nature know that we're there and that we come in peace. And then tomorrow we get up really early and hit the road at 6 a.m. for a 7 to 9 hour drive on probably a really crazy road for Kora, and which is on the west side of Nepal. We'll see what's in store for us at Kora.
Some of the other things on our list are garlic, because garlic helps your body adjust to elevation changes, moves your blood, keeps things going, and my personal favorite, anti-leech cream. We're going into an area with a lot of leeches, we've heard, so gotta look at the ingredients, go to a pharmacy and make sure it's not like super toxic. I've got a ton of essential oils. I need to research if the essential oils will be a preventative for leeches. So yeah, that'll be like a whole new interesting dynamic. I remember leeches from being a kid every now and then, but this will be a brand new flower essence collection experience. So the last 2 weeks, it's just been like getting super comfortable, you know, like it seems chaotic, it seems noisy, lots of movement, lots of people, lots of languages. And it's just like relaxing into the environment. Like all this crazy around you, but you're just like the eye of the storm. That's how I feel. Super, super calm. And we were here 3 years ago, but for some reason this trip feels like so much more, I don't know, like I'm digging into some old roots, you know, like maybe times I've been here before. Really connecting with this essence of place and land and history and culture and having that inform what we're about to do. And as I'm noticing some graffiti behind Taylor, it's a cool timing because the parliament just got burned down by Gen Z. But literally like whole buildings and files and paperworks and all important things like burned down, and they brought out prime ministers in their undies. So there was a major government change and a lot of transition going on right now in Nepal. So it's also a really interesting time to be here. And that hopefully will inform what comes through the flower essences as well. Sometimes revolution, small movements of revolution are necessary for good change. You gotta fit your backpack here.
Yeah.
Oh, so smart, okay. So we'll be walking around like this. Okay, that makes sense. Can I just see what this looks like? Wow. So we've heard that in Kathmandu, it used to be no motorbikes and no cars. It was all by foot and with rickshaw, bicycle rickshaw. So we're going the old traditional road because we have quite a walk. So we can go to the Asan market so we can buy 4 little bells. This fella's really sweet.
This way of making your way through Thamel is really awesome because you don't have to like avoid all the people and the cars and the motorcycles.
and it's not as fast as a moped or anything, or like taxi with the windows down and you're like blasted in the face of dust and pollution. The bumps are pretty, you know, bumpy, but they're not going so fast, so your like butt's not going up into your brain. It's manageable. Oh, we just have to buy one little thing and then we go back. Can you wait and take us back?
Okay.
We're looking for small bells. Ring, 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 ring.
Hundi.
Just a little one. Hundi.
This one?
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
How many?
4. Is that enough? Enough ding? It's kind of quiet. This one's nice.
Yeah.
We tested them all. We got a couple duds on the first run. I love this guy. He's like our new personal helper. We should get his number. We did this before where we like had somebody be really nice to us and then we didn't get their number. So now we're learning, we're getting smarter. Meet somebody nice, get their number, keep giving them business. Our forever friends. Exactly. I think he's having fun too. Yeah. Like bells, garlic. These ladies are strange. They're not like other Americans I've driven around. Probably thinks we're doing some weird puja. Kind of are. Pharmacy has essential oils, and I'm so happy to know that anti-leech stuff is actually, it's just essential oils. Okay, our driver is looking. What's your name? Rads. Like king. Wow. Okay, so we just go back to Thamel. Okay, we coming back. We need your help. We'll call, okay? Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, have a good night. Okay. Oh. Oh god. Oh man. Namaste, how are you doing?
Good. Shopping?
Yeah.
Or trekking?
Yeah, kind of. Oh yeah, we need this. So make you happy.
Oh, thank you very much.
Like a meditation?
That way.
Our musician friends nicknamed us June and Tara, which means moon and stars. Now when they see us, they always sing this song about the moon and stars.
All right, here we are in the guest house. I wanted to tell you what just happened. Our teachers are like master chess players. It's so interesting, and they'll like give us one little, go do this, and then this whole kind of thing unfolds. One of our teachers told us earlier today, and this morning actually, that we should, make sure that we go and let Lama Kalsang know that we're leaving for 5 days and let him know what we're up to. And so we went late morning and had some coffee with him, and he had us sit for a while, and then we explained where we were going, and then he said, come back at night, because something about a monk in Pokhara, and we weren't sure if it meant he was sending someone with us from here, or he was going to send us a monk with us from Pokhara out into the jungle. But we knew that we needed to get to the monastery in Pokhara, which he has another monastery in Pokhara, and visit. That we were for sure on. Other details weren't sure, but we knew we had to come back at night. So we went to Thamel, getting things preparing, and then we came back to see Lama Kalsang, and this other monk from Pokhara was there, the manager of the monastery. So he sat us down, and he said that he has to stay and do some business and talks and work. This?
Just like itchy.
I'm like so tired. As soon as we got to Lama Kalsang, I was like dead. Focus. Anyway, so the office manager or the manager of the monastery cannot come with us, but he's sending another monk who who is from the Kora Monastery. These guys are also just thrown into the fire. This is how Buddhist teachers work. They just like throw things together. So they just found out about us. They just found out about the trip. They just found out this evening that we're leaving at 6 a.m. So classic. Anyway, so a monk by the name of Nyenpa, which means sun, is definitely meeting with us at 6:30 in the morning, jumping in the taxi with us and riding the 7-hour-long trip to Pokhara. He will then help us buy more bells because the bells we bought apparently are pathetic. We explained that our other teacher told us we needed to get bells. And we took out the bells and they like laughed hysterically. And they were really sweet, like maybe a little bit too small. Maybe need a thicker cord. And told us this really great story of how like a blessing cord can really protect someone when they're out in the wild. So the monk is going to help us go to the market in Pokhara and find bigger, more appropriate bells. Whether or not the monk will come with us on our big jungle adventure depends on his mood. We'll see what Nyenpa's mood is. It would be great if he came with us. It'd be so much fun. We heard from our musician friends that leeches are really a big deal, and they like crawl up your legs and they fall on you from the trees, like raining leeches, and they go into the backs of your knees and under your armpits and your back and in your belly. So it's a real deal. So now we're just like extremely tired because we've been working so hard, and we'll be working till like 1:30 in the morning at night because we have like a full day of stuff, and then we'll come to our room like this at this hour and then like have meetings with folks at home or write emails or do social or whatever we need to do. And then we're like up at 5. So we've been going on like 4 hours, 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours. We've been like a steady string of 4-hour sleep nights. I think I'll try to sleep as much as I can on that 7-hour drive, but it's supposed to be really beautiful with rivers and stuff. It's also going to be cold. So we just realized tonight coming home from Thamel that we're like right on this precipice, right on the edge of the weather changing, going into like colder fall. It's been amazing, the weather. We've been spoiled. And just tonight it feels like a little too fresh, you know? And then everybody was, from the musicians to this manager monk, everybody's saying, it's cold up there.
I've never really done a like overnight hike before. Have you?
Yeah, I haven't actually. I've never done a trip where it's like you take everything in your backpack, you get dropped off, and you basically just like hike for a bunch of days. That's gonna be so fun. Really cool. We're getting omelet and coffee breakfast. It's about 6 a.m. and we're getting everybody food. So we got a really long trip. Hi. Guy's like pro roti maker. This is our driver, Nirod. Nirod's gonna drive 9 hours. Long time driving. Yeah.
After a month of harmonizing with life in Nepal, we're finally ready for a multi-day trek into the mountains. In the next episode, you'll meet Nyenpa, the Buddhist monk who our teacher Lama Kalsang instructed us to invite on our journey. Come with us on a 9-hour drive into the subtropical mountainous region of Panchase, where 1/3 of the country's orchids are found. Watch as we get dropped off in the middle of nowhere at sundown and make our way to the nearest village in the pitch-black night. Enjoy spectacular Himalayan mountain expanses and a world filled with treasures in the trees. Watch as we grapple with the possibility of meeting wild animals and prepare to enter the jungle with prayers, offerings, and protective bells. Learn about the mountain food that you eat without chewing, called Dido, and revel in the unspoken connection with each other and nature. Join us in Nepal for the next episode of Flower Hunters.